table 6 or 7 on our side behind the scenes. So we are, just as we're waiting for things to turn over, we actually have the start of this match. So Sanduish versus Victor Cardelli. We saw that Victor pulled it out in 3, but we came in late into the 3rd game. So we get to see the perspective of this game, which I think is actually very interesting. These are both really cool decks. And we see this Nylea's Presence, which I mentioned. So Domain's active now. Makes a Sun Petal Grove, Rainbow Land, Leyline Binding's 1. We got Fable coming down. Whole bunch of useful stuff here.
So V Cardelli, he went first. He's going to win.
All right.
He's guaranteed to win.
Well, Sandoish is going to have 6 mana minimum next turn, provided they hit a land. We see this Omen, come pick off an Elvish Mystic. Telling you, the hardest part of this deck is just figuring out what lands to play. And you got check lines in there that you're just like, at a game, my hand was Steam Vents, double Sun Petal Grove, and I just defaulted to playing Steam Vents tapped, and I just screwed up my entire curve.
Uh-oh.
All right, so Sandosh's version is actually the one playing Paradise Druid, which is interesting. Just another 2 mana ramp. You sometimes see a Sylvan Carry added in the Pioneer version, which we don't have yet.
Yeah, now why not just run Llanowar Elf and Elvish Mystic and call it a day? I mean, that's 8 1-drops that give you mana.
You want to go to 4/5 as quick as possible on curve. So if you get ahead, it also just lets you... You want to get Karn out early. You want to get that Cavalier out early if possible. The hands where you don't have Elf on 1 or just that Accelerant, if you're playing things on curve, you're usually too slow versus a lot of the other decks. All right, Storm in time. Don't you love when you tap 2 lands to cast your 6-drop?
Right. So expert. You know, every time I tried to play Storm the Festival, I always whiff.
You find your lands. It's like your Cocos. That's a draw 6 lands. Or look at the top 6 cards of your lands, shuffle them, put them at the bottom of your library. All right, so this is turn 4. And we've had so far 2 lands tapped to get a whole bunch of value. And then we see Portal come down for next turn.
Uh-oh. This Skyclave Apparition, what are you exiling?
Probably Karn, but will quickly be met with Portal.
I think I'd like them to have a 4/4 creature rather than a Karn.
I think there's no good choice right now. When your opponent's just like, yeah, pick whatever you want. Here's my 9 mana artifact that will wipe your board and give me all your creatures in your graveyard every turn.
True that. But if you let Karn stay on the board, he's just going to tutor up another dangerous thing that you're going to have to deal with.
Oh, no, I agree with taking Karn off. I'm just saying, you take Karn off and then you're like, okay, your turn.
They elect to go for the troll. Oh, I guess I agree with this. You can attack Karn so he can't tutor.
All right, but Karn uptick on Portal. Now your Portal is attacking for 9 damage.
It's bad. It's all around bad. Yeah, it's all around bad.
Karn targeting the treasure. Let's Stone Rain your extra mana source.
I have not built this deck yet, but I think I'm going to build it tonight and do some content with it because it actually looks pretty fun.
So 3 lands, cast a 9 mana spell.
You think they're going to leave Nykthos in the game? Do you think it's going to stick around, or are they going to end up giving it to Axe?
I think Nykthos is fine. I think Karn would be the angle of attack. Because we see Karn here just always being able to find the perfect answer. incidentally shutting off a whole bunch of things like vehicles, treasures, like the ovens, a whole bunch of things like that. I think it's too flexible of a card.
Okay, that's fair.
All right, so we see the fires coming out. Dampening Sphere coming in.
We haven't seen
Dampening Sphere's
we haven't seen Enigmatic do too much yet. So
yeah, let's hopefully see it come out. The games when Enigmatic is out versus when it's not are like it's like the Nykthos situation. When you have it, you do stupid things. Like a thing you could do is say like Omen of the Forge, cast it, sack it to Enigmatic, get back Renegade Rallier, get back your Omen of the Forge, kill another thing. I did that for Spirits, which felt great. But the pain is when you draw your 7 drops instead of being able to tutor for them.
that is the pain.
So, couple things we can see here. So Dampening Sphere taxes additional cards being cast each turn. It also means if mana was be produced, if it was more than a single mana, it turns it to colorless. So against something like Lotus Field, this is really good because they're trying to cast colored spells, the Ultimatum, Sultai Ultimatum, stuff like that. In this mono green deck, it's a little annoying. They can't cast Cavalier, but a lot of what they're casting are artifacts. So it is a way to kind of tax them there. So we saw a couple options. They could have gone Omen on the Elvish Mystic. They could have gone Dampening Sphere. They opted to go Fable this turn.
Now, the Dampening Sphere, it doesn't change how much mana you get. It just makes it colorless, right?
Correct. But each additional spell costs 1 more. So it's a stack, like a Staxx effect. So it's kind of like Storm Hate in a way. Yeah. So not quite Arcane of Emeria, where it just limits your ability to cast multiple spells. It just taxes them. So mono green now only has 37 mana to play with, not 38. It's turn 2. They're on the Tron math, 1, 2, 7. So Karn
just
here,
coming down
the world's their
consistently
oyster.
Here.
We see the boat. See what they might opt to get rid of. Interesting. They get rid of the Titan. I think Titan has a lot of utility in this matchup.
I think they're thinking is that they're probably not even going to get to casting the Titan. So,
yeah, I guess the thought, because Karn's going to shut off these treasure tokens, which makes it a little harder. Because I don't think Sandoish plays the boat this turn. I think the boat is earmarked for the flipped Fable. You can see Karn either... So they have a couple options. They could target Dampening Sphere and then shoot it with the boat, but they opt to go with the treasure. And we do see boat come down. So just wanting to keep Karn alive. So... couple options here. We can see an Omen get cast and Yori into hand. Neither of those are good in this situation. Renegade Rallier is more of a toolbox card.
Still no Enigmatic.
You got 80 cards. It's always you got to remember, though, when you're playing an 80-card deck, you can never find the card you want. When your opponent plays their 80-card deck, they find their 2 of always within the first 7 cards.
Yeah. If your name is LSV, you can play a 100-card deck and find whatever card you want, right? LSV was the first person I seen play a Urion deck like competitively, and it was amazing to me. I was like, how are you finding the cards that you need? Like it doesn't make any sense to me.
Karn plus on boat, just value town here.
Yeah, I think I like this deck.
So,
I think I'm building it tonight. If you would like to see
okay,
me
so
play
see
this
some
deck,
Deutsch.
definitely follow the channel.
Okay, so it'll be Selesnya versus Boros and mono green versus mono white. So mono white, I think, is favored in this matchup. Brave the Elements gets around all the creatures. So notably, a lot of these decks are playing Lovestruck Beast because the token it makes is white in color. So it gets a blocker for Brave the Elements. Sandoish's version, I don't believe, is playing. No, they're on Questing Beast, Paradise Druid, and 2 Sky Sovereigns main.
Uh-oh. Thalia's going to make things difficult.
No Elf on 1 is pretty scary.
That
and then
Thalia
we see this,
was a brutal play. This is why I hate Thalia so much, because she comes down at just the right time all the time.
Protecting the Thalia, and with the Luminarch now, you're going to be able to increase the power every turn to always ensure training can be done. You also have the ability now for 3 mana to blow up any artifact or enchantment.
No, don't tell me my mono green is going to go down already. I need you to make moves. Come on, Sandoish.
So we can see the 4/4. So
to roll a little bit. Oh no, they always have it.
Can you have drawn a better hand?
They always have it.
And I think with this deck too, they only have the 4 removal spells main, or they have 5. So they're playing the 4 Brutal Cathars, 1 Laydown Arms.
All right, so this game is over.
All right, Sandoish is trying to complete his daily quest, play 20 green spells, cast the Wolf Willow, and quickly concedes.
Come on, Sandoish.
All right. So the real pro thing about this deck is sideboarding is usually click 1, maybe 2 things, if that, and then click submit. So if you don't want to learn how to sideboard, aren't good at sideboarding, this is the deck for you. So seeing what mono white has access to in the sideboard. We'll likely see Redain come in here to tax the more expensive spells. Could see either the Laydown Arms to deal with some of their bigger creatures. However, Destroy Evil is probably more mana efficient to do so. Also have access to Dampening Sphere, as well as Portable Hole if they want to deal with some of the early elves. Controlling the elves early is a good way to kind of slow down them snowballing. I think what comes in, 2 Destroy Evils, 2 Dampening Spheres, and a Portable Hole. I would take out potentially the Laydown Arms and probably the Dauntless Bodyguards. Kind of go from there. We saw how good Thalia was that game.
Yeah, Thalia was the big difference maker there. As she often is when she comes down in a specific type of situation.
That was a big draw. Troll off the top. Otherwise, we weren't going to see really any play on 2 and potentially any play on 3.
All right, Thalia not so great here.
All right, so just troll into troll, doing great here.
Yeah, Thalia not the threat that she was last game.
This is part of the when you have the elf on 1 versus you don't have the elf on 1, it just worlds of difference here. So
Cavalier,
we could see
so
troll
good.
potentially come.
I love Cavalier in this deck. Also, I like any excuse to play Cavalier, so. Oh, man, come on. How do they always have it?
Yeah. But kind of stalemated here still.
Yeah, you gotta
come
shoot
down, and these.
Yeah, you gotta shoot and get your Cavalier back here.
And this is kind of the unfortunate thing where Skyclave Apparition, well, in this case, it wouldn't have hit Cavalier, but being able to just exile, like these enter the battlefield style creatures feel really bad when you get rid of the Brutal Cathar, because now this Cavalier just drew them an extra land, dug them into another Storm the Festival.
I like it. All things I like to do.
One thing, while Mono White looks kind of stuck on board, they do have access to Brave the Elements. So it's always important to keep an eye on what their life total is and how much power they have outputting.
Sure.
They do have a block available with the boat. Okay, that's pretty good flip. No Nykthos, though. So they're going to go boat here, probably take out Cathar, but notably this Hopeful Initiate. There's 2 counters, so boat's going bye-bye.
But a Nykthos here would pretty much just be like, just wreck everything for the white player, right? I mean, you're gonna find a Karn, you're gonna find all the goodies at this point.
So at this point, they have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Tapa land, 10. However, the Storms are a little bit more mana, so they're 1 mana off here. Nope, no Nykthos. You can't do it. Still can't do it.
Unfortunately.
All right, now you can do it. You can tell Sandoish is so used to always having Nykthos.
Yep. Wow. Still no Nykthos.
That wasn't a great flip. Not even, and the big thing there, no 4-power creature or more, so not even a redraw. Interesting thing here, Sandoish opting to not cast this Elvish Mystic because it will flip the Brutal Cathar.
Right.
See if PTKK can cast 2 spells to force the flip, the day-night cycle, and they do. Okay, so PTKK is basically looking for Brave the Elements for the win. They should have enough power here. This is going to get rid of Cavalier. Sandoish's side of the board is green. Karn Nykthos.
There you go. Now, what are you taking? There you go.
That's pretty big. All in on that Cathar, just hoping to dodge it. So
Nykthos giving 16 mana from Nykthos.
All right, Portal to Phyrexia time.
I think it's about that time.
Another Kiora in hand. Oh, I thought they were going to get Pithing Needle. I almost misclicked the Pithing Needle. All right, so they could cast this other Kiora.
Untap the Nykthos. Go again.
They just don't have.
But then what are you casting though? So
yeah. So the big thing here is they have the boat that can block. Brave the Element gives protection from a color. Artifacts, obviously, in this case, the boat being no color. Because otherwise, with Adeline, they'd have 5 with the token attacking. The token attacking is 6. Luminarch's basically 7, 8. Thalia 12, and then they put the counter on the thing 14. So they'd be two damage short, provided there was no boat and they hit Brave the Elements. But too short. Mono green. Mono green's got to do the hard thing now.
I'm a big fan of this green deck here, man. I'm definitely going to be playing this.
They got to win on the draw. So we see Storm coming out and Questing Beast coming in, just respecting an early Thalia. And we'll see how aggressive Sandoish is to having that turn 1 elf. They have 8
I think
in
it's
their
crucial
deck.
here if they're going to be on the draw. They got to have elf.
Yeah. And we'll see how many Brutal Cathars are in the top
Right.
8 cards.
6 of them. 6 of 4. Oh no.
This hand is so risky in a Thalia. Okay, now that's a good mull, I think.
Yeah, throw a card
this hand's
back.
Really good.
Yeah, throw a card back. You're good.
Troll stops early attackers. Because that hand, if they weren't playing against a Thalia deck, I think that's a super reasonable first hand to keep. But if they play Thalia, you're done.
Absolutely. Thalia. Turn 2. Let's see it. Oh no. No Thalia.
It's Thalia's lieutenant. Thalia was on break. So Kiora's here is interesting.
Now, what's the advantage of playing a Kiora here? I don't see the line here.
It's a fog effect, and it makes your troll next turn draw a card. I'm just thinking, is there a world where this Kiora dies? So if they go Adeline here, it gets the Thalia's Lieutenant up to, it's basically 5 damage that can be dealt. This also happens to get around the Thalia attacks. No respect.
Yeah, I didn't
Kiora,
think that
but I think that's the right line.
Yeah, I didn't think that they would be too concerned about the Kiora. They just want to go at face before they start getting creatures on board.
So they could go the Nykthos this turn. I think I actually like with Thalia untapping Elvish Mystic here, just because it gives you a blocker provided they can remove this troll.
Which they do.
Because now they get a clean attack.
They can actually kill the Kiora now.
No, I think at this point you go face. Because they're dead on board. Because even through a Cavalier there, they would still have like 7 damage coming through, and then the Cavalier potentially would require them to tap the Elf.
I don't think there's any line here for Sandoish.
And the biggest thing with these decks is if you control their devotion early, yeah, not going to do much.
Yeah, there's not much you can do. Looks like my mono green devotion is going to bite the bullet. But I'm still building it, and I'm still going to play it.
If you want head to hedge, play Voracious Hydras.
Hydras? I like Hydras.
Yeah, the Voracious Hydras. Also, there's no Shadow Sphere in this version. Okay, so what they can do is the Might can block Thalia, which would gain them 2 life, but they're still dead on board to 8 damage. First strike damage coming through first. They would somehow need one of these other creatures with 3 power to get first strike magically, which is not possible. I don't think mono white should be overthinking this. They should just attack all, but just taking the time, I guess. Lethal's on board.
They don't want to make any mistakes. They don't want to be sitting there with the troll face for making a mistake. All right, there's no mistakes to be had here.
All right, and mono white coming through will be one of our finalists, and we're gonna see what they're gonna be playing against, either Boros Prowess or Angels.
Looking for the latest comic book to add to your collection? How about the last card for that Magic the Gathering Commander deck? Well, the comic book stores got you covered. Shop online at comicbookstore.tcgplayerpro.com or come in person at 30 North Main Street, Glassboro, New Jersey.
This video is brought to you by MagicJank.com, the spiciest cards for your sauciest decks. Buy and sell Magic the Gathering products and gear today on MagicJank.com.
Pizza people, are you enjoying the content? Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Hit that bell icon as well. That way, anytime any of our new content comes out, you're able to see it right away. Hey, leave a comment down below as well. Tell us what you're going to play in the next event, or tell us what you're enjoying about the video. Don't forget, check out the description too. We've got tons of great content down below. And on top of that, we're going to have our tournament schedule too. So get in on it. Hope to see you.
We got the Wander versus Basri Ket. Basri's on the wrong side. Should be rocking the white weenies.
Right.
All right. Mono white on the play, but no Thalia. So they likely go Lieutenant on 2 because if they can hit a land, add a line, double grows Thalia's Lieutenant. We see the Hoplite here, 1 mana, 1/2 that gets a counter. So the biggest thing with this deck is being able to control their creatures. The removal is Reckless Rage in the main board, which is reliant on them having a creature. Unfortunately, the removal in this deck is not at instant speed, so you can't interact with it on the stack to get rid of their creature. They also have a lot of protection effects in like God's Willing, stuff like that. So taking a look in the main board, they're going to have access to 4 God's Willing. They can do trample damage with Invigorated Rampage or Ancestral Anger. Their only removal is the Reckless Rage. We see the God's Willing here coming down.
Gotta have it for that Brutal Cathar that's always, the opponents always have.
So that's an interesting attack there. That's a test attack where they can pump up their creature, trying to clear out the board. A cool interaction here is with Thalia's Lieutenant dying, you can get it back with Extraction Specialist and then pump your team some more. I don't mind this attack because if they do have a pump spell on Virtuoso, you can get back either of your smaller creatures with this Extraction Specialist. Connive here will let them shape up their hand. And are they on Brave the Elements is the question.
I mean, you got to be playing Brave the Elements now.
No. They were just like, Explore Anthology 2 does not exist. The only thing I wanted was my 4 Battlefield Forge, and that's all I need. I guess in this deck, because some of your creatures are red, God's Willing does a better job there, whereas Brave the Elements is specific to white creatures you control. So it's a little bit more narrow. I learned that the hard way when I tried to attack with the Mutavault and thought I got protection. Nobody has time to read their cards.
No, not when you're playing white weenies. It's just, I don't care what you're doing. I just know what I'm doing.
Pretty impressive board here. Okay, so the Adeline gets outside of Virtuoso range currently. They can use a spell for first strike damage, but it will give them some pain. That is not where you want to be on the Boros side.
Yep. I think Boros is biting the bullet now. Do you have any Day of Judgments? Maybe.
The Boros, it's a spells deck. They play Settle the Wreckage. They're ready to catch them. I've never seen a portable hole been clicked so fast. Lay down arms. So in this matchup, you still want to keep some number of creatures. The specialist is probably too slow. I'd probably trim maybe a copy or two of Brave the Elements. While it can protect your creatures, you are diluting your deck a little bit more, so you're not as likely on the play to be able to attack through with Brave. It's one of those considerations. Play draw. But good spot. Winning game one in this matchup is going to be big. But we'll see if play draw really goes.
Yeah, these type of matchups, when you win the first game, that makes a world of a difference for you.
Would you have kept that hand 1 land, 3 1-mana removal spells?
I think, yeah, I would, because I wouldn't want a mulligan in this matchup.
All right, so threat 1 dealt with. We have Thalia coming down on 2.
And then you got to remember, too, the officer can find your creatures. Should it get to that point? I mean, slim chance that it gets to that point.
And we're just seeing this Brave being awkward here. Like, you really just want Brave to be another creature.
Or another portable hole.
They're only on one sideboard hole. They have 4 laydowns. They could cheat, go into their deck box, pull in the other ones that are unsleeved, say that it fell out.
Well, I mean, Brave the Elements can be kind of like a pseudo removal spell if you double block the double strike guy if you need to, or whatever.
All right, the Swiss here getting a little bit of cold feet.
Oh no, another land here is just not good.
How many lands are they on? This feels like
is the officer's is the officer's ability, is it an instant speed ability?
Yeah. 4 mana, can activate at any point.
All right, that's good. Oh no. Goodbye, Thalia.
So patience. This is becoming Boros control versus mono white ramp. It's funny how just like a 1/1 first striker completely stops this mono white deck from being able to attack.
Right.
So Defiant Strike will cycle, draw a card here. And at this point, Boros might be able to just kind of churn through value. Boros has a lot of cards that just replace themselves, which gives them quite a bit of utility. This Ancestral Anger with the double strike is going to give trample. Mono White's not very good at blocking. They're very good at attacking.
You know, these types of decks, I'm never really that good at playing because I never draw relevant cards. When I play cantrip spells, I tend to draw lands, and it makes me upset.
These decks are usually I don't enjoy playing them because I don't like having half my deck be useless should I not have a creature. And it's a bit ambitious playing into even though Rakdos had a really poor showing today in terms of win rate, it's a very popular deck. People love their Fatal Pushes, Jund in older formats. It was very similar with the Auras deck in Historic. It can do ridiculous things, but I lost too many MIQs to drawing Spirit Dancer and then nothing but lands, or having a handful of Auras and no Spirit Dancer style effect. I have a buddy who's
why is he not laying
really
down
good at these
arms on this guy here? I think I would just be like, I want to get this out of here.
Yeah. Lay down sorcery speed.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised he didn't use it on his turn. Because now you can use a Brave and try to block, but if they give it protection, then you just you're gonna eat all this damage.
Yeah. So they're gonna go protection here. Invigorating Rampage +4. All right, so this is assemble your own Embercleave at home, Illuminator Virtuoso. And shout out to Sandoish for the big raid. Thanks for participating today. Nice top 4 finish. Almost brought it home with mono green. Staxx believed in you. I wanted to see you at least make to the finals, and then my Angels went out. But
I'm gonna build your deck, buddy. I will do you honor. Yeah, I don't understand this here. He's just eating all this damage when he didn't have to.
like at this point, you can't be scared of a God's Willing style effect. If anything, they do it on their turn. So the flip side is they do God's Willing on their turn and just attack in anyways.
Right.
Mutavault's pretty decent here. So I guess that kind of eats it up. They're out of creatures. It's a little bit of an ambitious attack. They have Swiftspear and they have 10th District Legionnaire, both that have the ability to gain haste. We see Swiftspear here. Ancestral Anger has Trample, so it can get around. Homestead Courage. Do they have the Invigorating Rampage? Activate Mutavault. Don't do the creature token. Don't do the creature token.
Oh no.
Now you're dead to the.
Oh
now
no.
you're dead to Brave the Elements.
Oh no. Oh, you did to that.
Okay,
too.
so it didn't matter in the end.
It didn't matter.
So the more conservative line there is to go with the Mutavault. Mutavault's colorless. What cannot be protected against God's Willing. In this case here, they open themselves up to just another removal spell. So they ended up having everything.
They were dead anyway. They were dead either way.
So in this case, it didn't matter, but it's always important to look at what's the kind of optimal line there. So if they didn't have the trample, they had the way to protect.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I definitely would have went with the Mutavault block first. And
Destroy Evil is actually a pretty decent call here. I would probably bring in the Destroy Evils over the Brave the Elements. A lot of their creatures are they're naturally 1/2s in a lot of cases. Okay, no lands.
They're 1/2s that get to be like 12/11s.
Yeah. You got to keep this. The question, what do you put back?
Dolly's Lieutenant.
It's likely it scales. I think it's one of the 1-drops. So Hopeful Initiate probably is it, because you're neither block well, and in this matchup, it growing doesn't matter in the same sense of blowing up artifacts or enchantments. No 1-drops pretty big there. Okay, so they're on Lieutenant Tron. Rending Volley is a card that came in with the Anthology, and I think it's a great addition to the format. Clean 1-mana answer for these white decks, and blue decks can't be countered, so you can pick off all those pesky spirits. Whew, missing line drop there.
Also kills Haughty Jin, right?
For the lone player playing Delver in the format.
Right. I'm always like impressed to see players come into best of 3 with the blue tempo decks. I'm like, you gotta be really, really confident.
My favorite, like, as soon as you see Basic Island and like Standard or Alchemy, it's just like, okay, well, here's a 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop. I know you play 4 Fading Hopes. What are you gonna do? All right, so We saw Reckless Rage come down. Okay, Brave will protect here, which is pretty big. This matchup's actually got a lot of interesting timing of things where they do it on the opponent's end step, so at least they don't have protection on their turn from red, so blocks aren't out of the question. The biggest, I think, factor in this matchup is the Angers and Invigorating Rampage really makes chump blocking not an option.
Yeah, absolutely.
And 2 Rending Volleys, 2 Reckless Rage in your top dozen cards is a pretty clean way to probably take this down. Mono White's not going to have much option here.
I mean, they got a Mutavault. A Mutavault they can't activate. Well, they could activate it, but they can't block with it.
All right. What do we got? God's Will in. Invigorating Rampage, give both the creatures +2 on trample. Okay, see Mutavault down.
Oh, yep. I think he's dead in the water.
Dreadhorde flashes back Rending Volley. 1 mana, kill any of your creatures, basically.
And this is part of the reason why I typically, as much as I hate to say it, I gravitate towards playing control, because I hate games where I get into top deck mode. It just feels bad. And when you're playing control, you don't typically get into a top deck state.
Well, that's because I try to kill them when I still have cards in hand. You can't top deck if you're already dead.
So what's the quickest path to victory? Killing the opponent.
So you can double block on the Hoplite potentially. Pro white on the Dreadhorde Arcanist. That was a pretty sleek. So God's Willing, give it pro white, then Reckless Rage it so it can't be blocked. And this is I sometimes like seeing these white-based creature decks play 2 copies of Settle. I've seen it in Angels decks in the past. Even in I was playing Elves in Explorer the other day, and it plays 2 to 3 Pause for Reflection, which is a 3 mana fog with Convoke. So you can basically hold your Elves back, let them attack all, you fog for the turn, and then you overrun them. So it's like somebody call an ambulance, but not for me meme.
Little trickery there. I like it.
All right, how much damage we got? Everything's protected.
GG's.
All right, we'll call this Boros. It turns out the person who drew more removal in the creature-based matchup won it.
Surprise, surprise.
All right. Boros cash and checks. And that should be it. Congrats to Veralata. Taking it down with a deck I don't think anybody expected to really see today. We thought Rakdos would be there.